Let's begin with the foundations. Welcome to another lecture where we turn a scholar's lamp onto subjects people usually meet under arena spotlights. Today our topic is Carmelo Anthony, known to most of the written record and to every corner of Madison Square Garden simply as Melo. I am Professor Alexei, and with me is Priyanka, whose questions you will see function like well-chosen chess moves. Small on the board, large in consequence.
Hi everyone. I am Priyanka. I think we can start by thinking about why one scorer can feel like a whole era, even when basketball is 5-on-5.
To frame our discussion, it is important to understand the role. Carmelo Anthony is an American former professional basketball player, arguably a prototype of the modern scoring forward. If the offense is a chamber orchestra, he is the principal violinist who can also conduct in crisis, orchestrating late clock possessions with jab steps, mid-post footwork, and three-level shot creation. Across 19 NBA seasons, he became a 10-time All-Star, a 6-time All-NBA selection, and as of the present count, sits 11th on the all-time NBA scoring list. Before we get to the complexities, a few terms. An NBA All-Star is selected to the league's mid-season exhibition on the basis of votes and coaching selections, a signal of elite status in a given year. The All-NBA team is an annual end-of-season honor, naming the league's best by position, stratified into first, second, and third teams. The NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player is the individual award for the best performer in March Madness. And Anthony, you see, captured that MOP as a Syracuse freshman, while also delivering the university's first national title.
I am curious about the maestro analogy. Is it that he dictates tempo or that he can play every note? In simpler terms, what made his scoring so reproducible against good defenses?
Mathematically, reproducibility comes from independence of variables. Anthony's scoring toolkit was relatively independent of scheme. A strong base, face-up footwork, and a reliable jumper meant he could create when the play broke down. This is why he accrued a remarkable number of late-game winners. By early 2020, he had 26 game winners in the final 30 seconds, outpacing even Kobe Bryant and LeBron James in those splits at that time. Now, the stakes. Anthony shaped the template for the scoring forward who operates from the elbow and the wing, and his international record further cements this. He appeared in 4 Olympics, medaling each time, with 3 golds and 1 bronze. And as of April 2016, he was Team USA's all-time Olympic leader in points, rebounds, and games played. That is not a footnote, it is a chapter.
Isn't it interesting how we sometimes judge a star only by rings? Team context hides individual influence. I guess with Melo, people understate the fit issues that shaped what we saw.
Precisely. Scheme and roster are the hidden variables. In New York under Mike Woodson, whose half-court approach privileged Anthony's ISO and mid-post strengths, Anthony won the 2013 scoring title with 28.7 points per game and led the Knicks to their first playoff series win since 2000. Under tempo and spread systems less centered on his preferred touch points, the perception of his influence sometimes diminished, even while his skill set remained constant.
Moving on. Can we get a quick tour of his basic story, like landmarks people should remember?
Let's start with the history. Born in Brooklyn's Red Hook houses in May 1984, he moved to Baltimore at 8, where competition and growth accelerated. Oak Hill Academy polished the package, then Syracuse in 2002-03, where as a freshman he averaged 22.2 points and 10.0 rebounds, scored 33 in the Final Four against Texas, posted a 20-point, 10-rebound title game against Kansas, and was named the tournament's most outstanding player. Drafted third overall by Denver in 2003, he promptly averaged 21.0 as a rookie and led the Nuggets back to the playoffs. Moving forward, a few luminous facts. In 2009, after Denver traded Allen Iverson for Chauncey Billups, the Nuggets reached the Western Conference Finals, their first since 1985. In New York, in January 2014, Anthony scored a career-high 62 points with 13 rebounds and 0 turnovers at Madison Square Garden, setting Knicks and Garden's single-game records. He also joined the NBA's 75th anniversary team in 2021, and in 2025, he was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, both as an individual and as a member of the 2008 U.S. Olympic team.
And of course, that Knicks trade in 2011 changed everything for how we remember him. I think the city and the style, they reframed his fame.
Indeed. In February 2011, he was traded to New York and immediately signed an extension. A quick methodological note on sources. Reports at the time suggested a preference for New York, but much of that sourcing was not on the record. What is on the record is that he declined a Denver extension earlier that season and was ultimately traded. The Garden became his stage, first amid Linsanity turbulence, and later under Woodson with structural clarity. If I may offer a brief personal note, I once sat high in the Garden among the scholars of the upper bowl, and what struck me was the collective inhale before his jab step. Thousands of people anticipating a single foot pivot. It was like watching a metronome take command of a room. We measure greatness in numbers, but sometimes rhythm is the clearest proof. This brings us to 3 questions. First, what were the key turning points in Anthony's NBA career? Second, a counterfactual. What if he had entered the NBA directly from high school? Third, how will his legacy be situated in future narratives of the sport?
I think the next thing we should talk about is the turning points. Beyond the obvious change of teams, where did the trajectory really bend?
We observe several inflection points. In Denver, the 2008 trade that sent Allen Iverson out and brought Chauncey Billups in reoriented the roster toward control and spacing. Billups stabilized pace and late-game execution, which amplified Anthony's efficiency and helped deliver the 2009 Conference Finals berth. In New York, the 2013 run under Mike Woodson yielded a scoring title at 28.7 per game, and the franchise's first series win since 2000. In 2015, knee surgery interrupted momentum, a reminder that even the best systems are bounded by physiology. In 2018, Houston parted ways with him after 10 games, citing fit, not effort. And the 2019 Portland chapter served as a laboratory in role clarity, where he even won a Western Conference Player of the Week at age 35, before his contract was guaranteed.
Can we maybe now look at that 2008 trade more closely? Did Billups change Melo, or did he change the environment such that Melo's strengths surfaced more cleanly?
To elaborate, the latter primarily. Billups was a pass-first, low-turnover point guard with a reliable 3. He organized Denver's half-court, reducing empty possessions and ensuring Anthony received touches at optimal spots, particularly the mid-post and the elbows. The defense had to respect Billups' spacing and endgame orchestration, which yielded more single coverage for Anthony. Systemically, it is the difference between an orchestra warming up and an orchestra following a score. Other turning points include 2011's transition to New York and the coaching shift from Mike D'Antoni to Mike Woodson, where causality is often conjectured more than documented, but the empirical outcome was clear. Results improved under a scheme friendlier to Anthony's preferred zones. Later moves, the 2017 stint in Oklahoma City, followed by a 2018 cap-driven trade to Atlanta and buyout, underscore how late career contracts can become financial instruments. Through all of this, he continued to ascend the scoring list, passing numerous Hall of Famers along the way.
Building on that, what if he had gone straight from high school? Would he have been the same immediate 20-point scorer? Or did Syracuse change something essential?
Theoretically, his scoring profile likely would have scaled to the NBA regardless, but Syracuse altered the slope of the learning curve. The NCAA title and Most Outstanding Player award provided a platform and compressed uncertainty, signaling to executives and teammates that he could dominate under tournament pressure. We can infer from his actual rookie data, 21.0 points per game and a playoff berth for Denver, that he was pro-ready. However, that single collegiate year honed rebounding habits and off-ball patience within a zone-heavy college ecosystem, skills that translated into his robust small forward rebounding and comfort as a catch-and-shoot option later with Team USA.
I am curious about peer comparisons. LeBron James entered straight from high school and adapted immediately. Can we say that Melo's path traded 1 year of NBA development for a narrative advantage? And maybe a different kind of confidence?
That is fair. Different optimization problems, similar maxima. LeBron accrued NBA reps sooner, while Anthony accumulated reputation capital and tournament-tested habits. The Syracuse year also resolved academic eligibility questions following his Oak Hill transfer, demonstrating a pragmatic decision as well as a basketball one. In simpler terms, he entered the league with a banner, not just a resume.
What comes to mind next is legacy. How do future narratives balance NBA results with international success and that clutch shot profile?
Speaking of legacy, we should distinguish components. First, the scoring corpus, 11th all-time, 10 All-Star selections, 6 All-NBA. Second, international stature, 3 Olympic golds and national team records as of 2016. Third, the clutch catalog, including those 26 game winners in the final 30 seconds by early 2020. And fourth, cultural resonance, which in 2013 included the NBA's top-selling jersey and a New York tenure tightly interwoven with the city's basketball identity. Over time, I suspect the narrative will normalize around his dual Hall of Fame enshrinement in 2025 and his place on the NBA 75 list, reframing him less by team outcomes and more by archetype influence.
From a different angle, cultural identity matters. He has Puerto Rican and Afro-Latino roots through his father, and that was explored publicly, on Finding Your Roots. Do we underestimate how such visibility shapes who becomes an icon to whom?
It is worth noting that representation and visibility operate as multipliers on athletic achievement. Anthony's multicultural background and New York platform broadened his symbolic reach. Future research could map jersey sales, social sentiment, and youth participation in Puerto Rican and Afro-Latino communities against his peaks. Academically, we would test the hypothesis that international acclaim plus urban franchise centrality creates a distinct legacy pathway. And naturally, any causal claims must be tempered given overlapping confounders such as team success and media cycles. One final nuance: late career turbulence in Houston in 2018, where the team parted ways after 10 games due to fit, illustrates the evolution of systems around switchable defense and shot profile orthodoxy. His Portland resurgence in 2019, including a Player of the Week at age 35 and a guaranteed contract thereafter, demonstrates how role clarity can restore efficiency. This duality will likely feature in future pedagogical case studies on context dependence for elite scorers.
So I guess that kind of sums it up. Melo as a scoring forward who could close games, a collegiate champion whose single year mattered, an Olympian whose international record is unusually strong, and a star whose context shaped the arc we saw.
To summarize, Carmelo Anthony stands as a maestro of isolation scoring and mid-post creation. We examined the turning points from the Billups trade to the New York scoring title season to late career reinvention. We considered the counterfactual of a direct high school jump and argued that Syracuse conferred both refinement and narrative force. And we projected a legacy that will increasingly weight Olympic dominance, clutch reliability, and archetype influence alongside franchise outcomes. For further study, one could trace the genealogy from Bernard King to Anthony to present scoring forwards, analyzing scheme evolution and shot maps across eras.
Maybe that is something we can come back to later. Thank you, Professor. And thank you to everyone listening.
This concludes our lecture for today. Until next time, take good notes. And if a jab step makes you hold your breath, you are in the right classroom.